everybody see the agenda? Thank
Yes.
you. Okay, beautiful. Okay, good. So we're gonna move things around a little bit. Especially since we have our local sheriff on. I'm gonna let her speak first, and then that will be followed by Cannaware if our representatives from Cannaware are on. And then, of course, that will be followed by our lovely representatives from CUNY. We love our CUNY University. What is the sheriff name? The sheriff's name, well, I see Sheriff Miranda. Oh. Is that who's gonna be speaking?
That is.
Oh, wow. Nice to meet you, Sheriff Miranda. I've seen you on TV and I'm glad you're able to join us this evening.
We'll see him on TV again tonight.
Oh, that's right.
That's what we're doing.
That's right. So, Sheriff Miranda is like, once again, we're happy to have you here. In our community board, we've have had a few conversations and have expressed the concern around the activities that are going on in Community Board 9 in reference to a lot of the illegal establishments that are here. And many of the local residents have complained, quite frankly. And so we wanted to, one, meet you, and two, ask you to give us a better understanding of what is being done to address some of those establishments that have been cropping up in our local community board.
Okay, well, again, it's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm going to give you some overall numbers about our enforcement, and kind of like an overview, and then I'm going to give you the chance to ask me specific questions that you may have at the end of that.
Thank you.
So from the start of our task force, just so we get an understanding of it, we've issued over $40 million in civil penalties, and we seized over $23 million of illicit products. The enforcement efforts of the task force, we have had the ability to touch at least over 50% of the locations that have been identified throughout the city have been touched by some type of law enforcement activity, and we continue to do more. 243 locations have had more than one visit, more than one type of enforcement. And there are still probably close to 900 locations that still need to be visited by the task force.
I see. Wow, it seems like a lot. Are you able to give us numbers in terms of the activity in Community Board 9?
Do we have specific? We can get it for you and supply it to you after the call. I don't have it in front of me. Okay. But for the month of October, we've done 130 compliance and intelligence inspections, resulted in 16 arrests, 44 C summonses, 27 sheriff notices of violation, 171 DCWP notices of violation with 716 violations, and over 3,848 different counts. The assessment so far for the month of October is over $4 million in assessed civil penalties, and close to over over 1,500,000 of illicit products that have been seized just in the month of October.
I see. Just in the month of October. Oh my God.
Wow, that's a lot.
Wow.
Sure.
Yeah.
And recently, you've seen us on the news speaking about the letters that are going out to the landlords of these locations. They are now. This is a continuation of Schuman's city council legislation to issue the letters to the business owners and the owners of the building. They started receiving those letters this week, putting them on notice that they are liable for the illegal conduct that is going on. And some owners have been duped, and we're going to assist them with their eviction process and giving them enough information so they can evict the tenants. And then those landlords that have chosen to take advantage of the situation to make as much money as they can, they're being put on notice that they can be fined anywhere between $1,000 a day to $5,000 and increasing, and that when they fail to take action, the district attorney's offices could step in and take action for them.
I see. Did you have a question, Dad?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. When you say, the first one is not my original question, but based on what you just said, when you say the landlords have been duped, what do they not, do they live out of state or something? They don't know that there's a store in their property, or what, how can they have been duped?
Some landlords have leases where the person intended to open a grocery store. And so they have a lease that they're opening a legitimate business. Then based on
Okay.
rented the property, and a couple of weeks later, they have an elaborate smoke shop. In which case, they now have to fall into the regular guidelines of trying to evict somebody, which takes a little bit long, and it's a costly process as well. So with the participation that we have with the various district attorney's offices, when this happens, we will provide them with the information to prove that illegal activity is going on in their location, and they can use that when they go to the eviction process to get rid of the tenants.
Are these new guidelines, or is this something that just basically, if there's illegal activity, is that taking advantage of an old law, or are these new guidelines that are put in place for this particular situation?
No, that's an old law been on the books that, again, we've been very creative in utilizing all the various agencies to be able to respond to the situation. The task force is not just made up of the sheriff's office, it's made up of the New York City Police Department, DCWP, Department of Health. We use the fire department, we use the Department of Labor, the State Liquor Authority. We go in with all different agencies and do a complete inspection and hold them accountable for any infractions that we find.
Okay. I was just having a conversation at the top of the meeting before people have really signed on. And I fear that some of these 1,500, it was 1,500 several months ago, so I'm sure it's probably more than that in terms of illegal establishments. But I fear that we may have, I feel that some of the concerns of the community board may have set the stage for there not being a lot of enforcement to start with, plus the fact that we are building a plane while we're flying it with the whole cannabis system in general. And we were very concerned that legacy operators and things like that we were very concerned that that the legal response could be heavy-handed on people who were unlicensed and that sort of thing. We were trying to sort of balance, okay, it's legal now, but don't rush in there and just put everybody in jail for whatever they were doing. And it seems like it may have gone the other way where law enforcement didn't do anything. And I guess they were trying to decide who was even responsible for it, whether it was NYPD, whether it was you guys or whatever. That being said, can you sort of give us an overview of what the general guidelines are now? Because I know they have kind of been ever changing. I know that, you've done a lot of enforcement, but what are the general guidelines? Like, I know now that owners are responsible for if they have a cannabis establishment in their place. What are they being charged every day? What are the penalties? Give us some of the guidelines that are in place.
So let me that came out in your statement as well. One, in the inspections that we've conducted to date, I have not found a legacy owner in these locations. So while the challenge is trying to protect our legacy participants, they are not in these illegal shops that are currently operating in the city that are plaguing this. The second comment about, recriminalizing a generation of people, as I do these meetings in the communities, and you should also have the same information, is if these are people who are working in our communities, that are working in the shops, if there are people that come from our communities, then they probably would not be the ones selling to our children, right? What they're packaging this product and labeling it with every kid's candy and every child's cereal product, right? So if they come from our communities, they wouldn't be selling to their own children in the same communities. So again, that's the caution. Once they start selling to underage children, then it doesn't matter where they come from, they are participating in illegal activity. And if they are in one of these locations and they observe that these locations are mixing these products in the basement, inside the location with various chemicals or other objects, these are also people that we should not say, oh, they're from our community, because if they were from our, they would not allow this stuff to be sold into our communities, right? So we go out there and tell people, we are not interested in children who get sick or the adults who get sick. If somebody gets sick off of some product that they brought, please give them the confidence to come and report the location so that we can conduct a proper investigation, so that these products who are making both adults and children sick do not stay on our streets. So we're not interested in investigating them. We're interested in removing the dangerous health hazards that are being committed in our communities, and that's what we want to address. So there's a balance in our approach. Now, as to the rules and regulations of operation, you have two sites, the State Office of Cannabis Management and NYC Cannabis, that lay out all the legal criteria for participating in the legal market. And then if anybody tells you, well, I was trying to wait and get into the legal business, but I try to take a shortcut. If they are legitimately trying to get into the legal market and were taking a shortcut, then they would comply with all the rules and regulations that currently exist. What we're bombarded with are illegal locations that are in violation of every rule and regulation designed by the Office of State Cannabis Management. When you see a legal location, which I believe we probably have about 8 in the city, they are fully, they do not cater to our children. They do not have packaging to the children. They do not have the bright lights and the signs and all those things that we're seeing. And they do not sell to underage kids because they require to have the proper ID, and they provide the proper security to protect the people who want to participate in the legal market and to protect the people from the community as well. So again, when we look at this, I want to make sure that we're talking to our community that there's a difference, and we can see a clear difference between those legal shops and those that are operating outside of the law.
Right. My last question is, and you actually may probably have just answered it. You said that there have been a whole lot of violations, but there have been 16 arrests. What would the arrest be for?
So first I want to make clear this other part about cannabis. The sale of cannabis other than by the legal shops is still against the law, right? Up to 3 ounces for personal use can be in their possession, and they don't get arrested because they're using the product, right? So these people sell the product. What we often find in the arrests is that we're finding more than 10 pounds worth of marijuana. Some locations have 200 pounds of marijuana or more. This is, of course, illegal. The second part that we're finding is that we are finding other drugs and other weapons inside these locations, which will cause the person to be arrested as well. If we find cocaine or fentanyl or heroin inside a location or a gun, they will be arrested for those felony offenses.
Have you found fentanyl at some of these places?
We have recovered fentanyl in some of our operations as well.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my goodness.
That's terrible. The fentanyl, gun, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have these illegal brick and mortar locations that are now, since they're operating so freely and the enforcement is we're ramping it up now to try to target all the different areas. There are still some laws that our legislators have to change to ensure that we have the full enforcement authority, and even more is going to be necessary because bad actors or people acting outside of the law will always be creative and look for the language of the law and find those loopholes and to do what they're doing. So our legislators be flexible enough to go back to the drawing board and say, this wasn't what it was intended for. I also stress to our community is that these illegal shops are stealing from us. The revenue that was supposed to come back and build up our communities and support our community-based programs, we're missing millions, if not billions of dollars in that process. We should not allow them to steal from us on a daily basis. That should not be allowed. And if they're selling any other kind of products and sodas and cakes, then they probably should not solicit those stores for any other products as well. That's the way the people have control, right? People always say, you do. I always say, what we can do, and you can help us, is by not going to those stores for any other products as well. And then that would help us be able to start focusing on those people who want to violate the law right now.
Yeah, and many of them are not even, like you said, not even from the community. These people that are setting up these.
Again, I think if you and I walk in and we see some young person from our community working there, they're going to be conscientious enough to know that they should not be selling to the kids from the same neighborhood. I think we're challenged by these people that are in violation of the statute, the state statutes. They are operating next to our schools. They have opened next to our houses of worship. They are by our senior centers. They are by our parks. So it requires a response, an enforcement response, so that the legal participants can also be given the opportunity to actually grow their business and do it right. It's a shame that they're not going to get the chance, or they're being challenged with the opportunity to prosper, because there's so many of these other operators that are operating outside of the legal statutes.
And is there anything that we can be advocating for on a community board level? You were just saying that we need to catch up in terms of the legislation. Is there anything that we should be thinking about trying to advocate for in terms of changes? Absolutely.
We have been talking with several legislators, and we're hoping that the January session will introduce more rules and regulations that will solidify the authority of the sheriff's office. When they designed the laws, they really geared it towards state agency enforcement and the State Office of Cannabis Management. They cover all of New York State. So while they're traveling to other parts of the state, the city is not getting the service that it needs, right? So we're trying to force them that they need to share that responsibility. And if they're reluctant to, then the law has to change to incorporate, allow the mayor to choose an agency to do enforcement. The mayor saw the problem and initiated a task force, which he appointed me as the sheriff to lead that task force of enforcement. But that authority should be something that should be delegated to the law to give them the ability to have the same enforcement rights that the State Office of Cannabis Management has, to be able to do it out of a city agency so that we can have the proper response.
And do you have the manpower?
You asked my same question.
So people often ask that, and that's the good thing about having a task force. And the task force, you are not only relying on your own supplies, on your own manpower, but you are relying and combining the resources of several different agencies to be able to have the enforcement. We're anticipating a graduate class coming in January, where we'll be hiring a significant amount of people in the sheriff's office directly. So we'll continue to grow and expand to address those needs. And I should stress to you, the sheriff's office, in case you haven't, I know we're talking about cannabis, but you should be aware the paper plate operations, the illegal license plates, that is also sheriff's office enforcement. The orders of protection are sheriff's office enforcement. The court orders that come from the courts for search warrants and for weapons due to domestic violence, those are also come from the sheriff's office. And we do every other mandate that comes out of the court system as well. We also electric monitoring program, which is alternatives to incarceration for people in pre-sentencing situations. So that is also a responsibility of the sheriff's office, and a program that has been very successful and continues to grow.
How many
You schooling us
officers do you
today
have?
because nobody knows what the sheriff does.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you guys do a lot, and yet you still sound like you need more people power to do it.
We will never turn away people, extra resources. We will never say no to. But I don't want our people to, sometimes people lose faith or hope that we have a solution. I never want that to be the message. We do the best that we can with the resources we have, and we have been doing very good and giving an effective response. You've seen an increase also in the police department's enforcement, independent from the task force, and you've seen an increase in the enforcement by DCWP as well. Also flourishing on the efforts that the sheriff's office has initiated.
Wow.
How many sheriffs do you have now in your service?
The agency in total with law enforcement and civilians, about 250 people, 150, 130 are deputies and investigators.
Thank you.
Thank you. So as Daria said, is there anything else you can suggest, Sheriff Miranda, that we can do to support the sheriff's office's efforts so that we make sure we keep our community safe?
listen, we always welcome the information. So anytime they have locations that are, where we see our kids are going into, that shouldn't be the underage participation, please make sure they continue to report it. The complaints that we receive, making sure that people that get sick, again, make sure they report it to you and you can share that information with us. We're not investigating them. I need them to feel comfortable. We talk to parents at PTA meetings and things, and we want them to feel comfortable and at ease that we're not investigating their children. But if one child gets sick, then that means there's an opportunity for other children to get sick as well. So we have to make sure that we have an effective and efficient response to that. You also talk to your legislators, both city council, state assemblymen, state senators, and your councilmen. They all work collectively. There are laws that can be passed both at the city council level and at the state level that could solidify our enforcement and enhance our abilities to keep doing what we're doing right now. So always have those conversations. Talk about the sheriffs. Make sure you're part of your conversation and say, how are you empowering the sheriffs to keep doing what we're doing? And we will also always welcome that kind of support.
I have a question, Sheriff Miranda. You said something about the illegal license plates. I've seen quite a bit of that. Not only not the illegal ones, but cars with no plates at all.
Yes. So
How
we do
address that?
we do operations generally in the after midnight hours. On a typical night, we will tow anywhere between 50 and 100 cars, and we take them off the streets for all kind of violations. We are now also pushing out new enforcement on both scofflaw and parking debt, the people that just haven't paid their parking summonses, and as well as those people that have been sneaking through all the toll plazas and not paying. They're the same ones that pass the red lights. So we're doing operations, more frequent operations, and seizing those vehicles and removing those people from those cars right in the street.
I have a location for a car with
Trying to
no
make
plates.
him, what, he needs to be big.
Location that is has a significant amount of cars that you believe that are illegal, then share that address, and we'll send some people out to investigate it and take the appropriate action.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
that was the question I wanted to ask. So what should we do to get somebody to come out?
Continue to report it. Like I said, we get all the same information you report to the local precincts. So you can send it to them. You can send it to us. Landlords who are being challenged right now, you might know some landlords that say, I didn't want these guys in there. Then have them reach out to the sheriff's office, because we will assist them in getting what they need to be able to evict the people as well. But any other locations, you can also, get a list, have the people come to you, if they complain to you at the board meetings, write that list down, and then communicate with our public relations team, and then we'll put together the enforcement that's necessary.
I was gonna ask you, Sheriff Miranda, do we have a local sheriff we should be working with, or basically you have your unit and you dispense whoever is available to go out? Like, should we be forming a relationship with a particular person?
Absolutely. We have offices in all 5 boroughs. So at another meeting, I will send out the undersheriff for I'll send out the undersheriff for Manhattan to come out and meet with you, so you get a personal relationship with him. These other operations that we're talking about, the license plates, the smoke shops, those are the type of things that run out of our central office here. And then we would dispatch our teams from here for those type of operations. But the orders of protection, the type of local enforcement that they have to do, the court orders, things like that, many of our community go out and pay process service, and they don't realize that the sheriff's department does it for free.
Oh, that's good to know.
Good to know.
That's good to know.
Bring the proper court documents for enforcement over to the local office. They will review it, tell you if you need anything, and then they take the action for you.
Where would the local office be? We're asking so many questions because I know nothing besides getting pulled over on the freeway. I don't know I don't know where our office is. I don't, thank you for all of this information, because clearly we have a lot of questions.
Yeah, we do.
Where's the central office and where's the Manhattan office?
Our central located in Long Island City, 3010 Star Avenue. So we're one of the few agencies that are not located in the city. Is the main headquarters. Our main quarters is in Long Island City. We're right by the Midtown Tunnel here, so it gives us flexibility to go throughout the 5 boroughs. For the Manhattan office is 66 John Street, and what floor they are. 66 John Street, 9th floor. I believe it's there on the 9th floor there.
Okay. But
Thank
you
Yeah,
can't,
so it's preferable to call the district office or 311 or both. with the
When you-
complaint.
When you're going to report smoke shop locations or the paper plate kind of stuff, then you can call our main office here and then we'll dispatch for those kind of jobs, which is 718-707-2100. It's not 2000.
got it. So I have a question, in terms of, because I deal with the precinct, I think Officer Stuma is on. And
He
we
is.
we give him a lot of calls as well in terms of illegal license plates and what have you not. And like you say, you work with the local precinct, so they would know already, correct?
Yeah, yes. So they work with the local precincts. The commanding officers will call us and we'll do joint operations. Most of the stuff that we do is done jointly with NYPD because they're the ones that receive a lot of complaints. And we want to make sure they're involved and see the enforcement that's going on. So we work together on many of these operations.
Thank you.
All right.
Answer my question.
So to be clear, if we have a complaint, you should call the 718 number is for the central office.
Yes.
Okay. That's good to know. Any other questions from the peanut gallery, as we say? And even if for those who are joining us virtually, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'm going to give you 718, 718, 707, and the 2000 extension as well.
Okay, and 2000. So either 2100 or 2000, we can call if somebody has a complaint about some illegal activity they're witnessing at a
Cannabis related.
okay, illegal cannabis activity at one of these shops.
So I should be clear, we do enforcement on illegal cigarettes, on vapes, and cannabis,
Right.
right? Else illegal that we see inside these locations, but it's cigarettes, illegal vapes that have been banned by the city council, and
cannabis, okay.
My God. So it's just not cannabis that he's saying.
right.
Other
Right.
things.
Okay.
I got
We're
it.
not focused on everything.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We
Sure.
focus holistically everything that's illegal.
Got you. Now, what I was gonna say is we meet every month. And I'm hoping that you'll be able to, maybe you or a member of your team can join us and report and share the activity that you've engaged in when it comes to maybe cracking down or, going into the community and addressing any problematic locations. And certainly we'll do our part and encourage people in the community that they should share with us any concerns they have about locations, on their block. Because especially a lot of these shops are on non-business areas that are more residential, and people have expressed concerns about noise and odor and people hanging out, and we don't want to impact people's quality of life. People should be able to sleep and, be able to rest at home. So we have to find a balance. As Daria said, we don't want to criminalize people, but we also want them to be respectful. And we're looking forward to, as people are coming forth and applying for legal licenses, we want to support those efforts and make sure that we're working very closely with those individuals so that we can have a copacetic relationship in our community.
I want to say one thing, when it comes to the quality of life issues and these about noise and that kind of thing, that still goes to your local precinct, okay? Reporting that engaged in illegal activity so we can do follow-up investigations, that will fall to us. I think where people see, and most of the time when we're out there, is they see the street level operations where we're doing these inspections and seizures. They should also understand, and you should understand, that is only one level of investigations that we conduct. We work with the Department of Finance to identify who is owning these locations. Well, are they paying the taxes that are supposed to be coming back to the city? How many illegal shops are affiliated with them? So there is an extensive amount of work that goes on even after the initial seizure that we do, that people see in the streets.
Okay, that's good to know.
I'm very, very interested in, and I guess I kind of asked this question before, but I'm kind of putting it back out there because with all due respect, we're talking a whole lot about, you know, how do we report people and all of that stuff? And I really am of the mind that I really want us to be more proactive, and I'm talking about us as in community board, to be, and it is our hope to be more proactive than reactive. Right now, you have to be reactive because you got thousands of illegal shops. But in terms of proactivity, with the community board, is there anything that we can engage in with the sheriff's department or on behalf of the sheriff's department? You know what I mean? Can we be an extension in any way to, I don't know, keep you from having to arrest anybody or, you know, go up in their place?
It is clearly been the goal of the mayor not to recriminalize an entire population of people, right? So we're
Right.
very about that approach. Prior to me taking this post as the sheriff, I was pretty much a civil rights advocate defending the rights of our community for many, many years. I'm also retired from the New York City Police Department, and I started in 1982, right? So I've been around a little bit and been very much involved in advocating for our rights as a community. So that haven't changed. That lens hasn't changed because I became the sheriff. It's looking at things with the balance that we have been asking for and ensuring that we have the right approach. Being proactive, NYC Cannabis goes out and does informative sessions in every community. You should absolutely engage with them. When they do community events, we come out with them. So there's a balance in the presentation about what the expectations are to join the legal cannabis business. And people don't often realize that even the legal cannabis business, there are hundreds of auxiliary services that you don't have to just get into selling the actual cannabis. There's all kinds
Right.
of other things that can be done where they can be profitable and they can have a role to be able to do these things. But again, if it's going to come to our communities, we want to hope that it's coming from our communities, right? From the people who live here and grew up here, that kind of thing. So we're kind of about this. So understand that it is not our goal to lock people up. But if we walk in there and find heroin or cocaine or the mushrooms that they have out there, these are things that are going to have a tremendously detrimental health impact, not only on our kids, but on the adults who want to participate legally. And it's necessary for us to be present. There will be a balance at some point when the legal stores get their foothold and they get running and they get established. Then we hope that will create the balance that these illegal shops won't be able to be as profitable as they are right now.
Yeah, we're hoping that as well. And tonight we have a presentation from someone from the community that will talk about those very opportunities that you just alluded to, so that we're being supportive and getting the information out there. So I don't know if there are any more questions that we have for Sheriff Miranda.
No, Monique, I have to leave soon.
Okay, so Laquita, do you have questions? Did you have?
Bill, I was just gonna ask for clarification on the 200 and something enforcement persons. Are they in Manhattan or throughout the city?
I'm
It's
sorry.
250 sheriffs, not
You
enforcement.
mean the 36,848 counts and the 23
There was a
million?
question, I came in at a time when there was a question about how large health.
How many? It was how many sheriffs did they have that I asked?
Right.
He said 250.
250.
Right. Is that citywide or is that just Manhattan?
No, that's citywide. We cover all 5 citywide agencies and we cover all 5 boroughs.
Okay, I just wanted clarification. Thank you.
All right,
That's definitely not enough.
so it's not enough, but we'll do our part to say we need to support you guys, but hopefully things will settle out so that we.
But he
Don't-
also said that there was another class coming out in January. So did you hear that? So that means it would be more. Okay.
Well, okay, well, we look forward to that, so, all right, well,
Monique,
yes?
I'll be leaving soon, okay? I have another meeting.
Understood. Thank you, Carolyn, for joining us. And Officer, Sheriff Miranda, thank you so much for coming to our meeting. We appreciate your presence and the work that your team is doing. And we hope that you'll join us on a regular basis.
Well, somebody from our definitely be able to represent and answer questions for you. And whenever I get the opportunity, I absolutely will.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
so much.
We
I
appreciate
have to
you.
invite you to my uniform service meeting. Oh, Sheriff Miranda.
No problem. Forward to the invitation. You have to contact my community relations team. They'll schedule that out, okay?
All right, thank
Yes.
you.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now we're gonna go to the next item on the agenda. So I wanted to know if Abe is on. Is Abe on? Tahira from Counterwear? If he's not on yet.
No.
Then we can go to City College. And the team from City College, Deborah Levine and Tamisha Hicks. They have been doing some wonderful work in the community.
There's a hand up.
And we value our partnership with them. And I see your hand up, Chris. Give me 1 second. And so we want to always provide an opportunity for them to share with us what they're doing. And also let us know how we can partner and work with them so that they can do their best work to support our community essentially. So I don't know who wants to start first, Tamisha or Deborah, but why don't you share what you're doing, a little bit about the survey that you put out, and then also the upcoming activity that you have in the new year.
Yeah, I can start. Nice to meet you all. This is my first time here, so thank you guys for having me. Like Monique said, my name is Tamisha. I am the program manager for the CUNY School of Public Health's Harlem Health Initiative. And so what we've been doing, we have what we call a Cannabis Equity Center. And so that center kind of started from us recognizing and seeing all these cannabis programs coming up, legalization is happening. And Harlem Health Initiative, our whole approach to community engagement is community collaboration. And so we wanted to see that through cannabis education equity lens. And so our cannabis equity project specifically, there's a survey component. And so in that survey component, what we're looking to do is gather community perceptions around how they feel about locations of cannabis dispensaries, how they feel about legalization in the first place, right? How they feel about what's going to happen to their community, how they feel about justice, how they feel about racism, and how they feel about, at the end of the day, what's going to happen to Harlem as a whole. And so that survey is going out to community boards 9, 10, and 11. We closed that out last week. And so right now what we're doing is we're taking that data and we're gathering it and we're synthesizing it. And so sometime early next year, we'll be ready to share with you guys the data. Again, winter break is coming up, so we know we have to account for people being out for those last 2 weeks of the holiday season. And so question?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, I thought you were taking a breath. Go ahead. I'll ask after.
No, okay,
Go
okay,
ahead.
you sure? Are you sure?
I was just asking, where the Lord have mercy, where the surveys would have been accessed from, where were they? Who got the surveys?
Good question. That's a good question. So we sent them out to all of the community boards. We sent them out to all of our partnering community-based organizations. So that's Marcus Meets Malcolm, that's Harlem Business Alliance, that's Harlem Congregations for Community Improvement.
I didn't see it. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
We'll make sure you especially see it in the next round because the surveys will go out again.
I was probably traveling. It just, but thank you very much.
It's okay. It's okay. And so we made sure that when we also did some in-person surveying. So we worked with some of the senior centers in the Harlem area because again, also recognizing meeting people where they are. Seniors sometimes don't use it electronically. And so that's another piece of why we're having to push the evaluations back until next year because we have these paper surveys that we have to kind of go through individually and add it to the computer. And so by next year, we'll be able to kind of give you guys a synopsis of that survey, of the evaluation from that survey, as well as how that kind of fits into our overall project of what happens with neighborhood cohesion with legalization. And so we'll come back with you guys with a special report specifically for that. Do you guys have any questions about the survey?
No, that was my only one. I hate that I missed it.
No,
That's
it's okay.
amazing. I can't wait to hear. I can't wait to hear how it comes out.
Yeah, we're excited for it. And then also thinking about the next round, because again, this project is something that will be happen every year. Next year, we'll release the surveys again. And so if you can think of different ways in terms of like our survey recruitment process, if you want to specifically for Community Board 9, your task force, we can set up some type of event to kind of specifically work with you guys to hand out paper surveys, electronic surveys. And so let us know if that's something you guys would want to do.
I certainly would suggest that you also think about using the link, the kiosk, that as an opportunity to reach people. Yeah, I mean, people go by the kiosk and I mean, I know I look at the kiosk, a lot of us do. And if you were to advertise on there, have a little QR code, that would also be a good way to get it out. And I think sending things through the kiosk isn't supposed to be that hard, but certainly we could do it through our office as well.
Okay, we can set that up. Maybe we can send it through you guys, and you guys can help us get it on the kiosks in your areas, and we can do the same thing with 10 and 11.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we want to make that suggestion to help you out and to get more eyeballs on the survey itself. So that's a survey. That's a survey. Do you want to? Yeah, do you want to share? Oh, my phone is doing dictation. It's like possessed. Okay. I was gonna say, did you want to share some updates regarding like the activity that you guys have planned for next year, the event?
Yes. So part of the center, again, the idea of the center was to kind of morph together more collaborations when it comes to cannabis education and cannabis equity, especially in Harlem, one of the communities most impacted by the drug war. And so this webinar, it started as a kind of expungement conversation about not just what expungement is, but what's its impact, right? We kind of already know, okay, there's automatic expungement in the law, right? But like, what exactly does that mean? Is it really automatic? What are the processes that go through it? And then what happens when you get it expunged? What jobs do you qualify for? Who exactly is expungement appropriate for? And so also what's happened on it, you guys will probably follow, but the Clean Slate Act has also passed, I want to say as of last week. And so the first series of this webinar, we're going to call it Breaking Barriers Through Leading with Justice. And so that first episode is us kind of having the conversation around Clean Slate Act, what it is, it's passed, having the conversation around now what happens in terms of how do I explain this properly? So let me start over. So the first, what the series is about is essentially us understanding legislation, understanding its impact in terms of when we think about the social, the justice, the economic impact of communities. And so when people get their records expunged, you now have more opportunities in terms of workforce. And so what does that mean in terms of, let's say, Harlem? If there's more people in the workforce in Harlem, that means there's more income coming into Harlem. If there's more income coming into Harlem, that means there's more resources coming into Harlem. And so what does that mean for population health, right? And so this webinar series is kind of geared toward having that conversation and getting people to kind of think beyond the facts and think more in depth in terms of now what happens to population health, now that legislation is kind of not so much prohibition, but now legalization. And how do we put the most harmed communities in the forefront of this positive legalization?
And when is this happening?
And so the first episode will happen January 3rd from 12 to 1:30. And some of the partners include, we'll be working with Community Board 10, you guys Community Board 9, we'll be working with Manhattan EOC. And so if you guys are familiar with EOCs, what they are educational opportunity centers. And so they offer resources to adult learners in terms of like certificate programs. So construction is one of them. And so they'll be offering resources to the participants after the program, as well as Cannabis Workforce Initiative. Who else is a partner? We'll also be partnering with Gotham Buds on this webinar as well. Am I forgetting any partners? Gotham Buds. Oh, how could I forget? Also, Just Us Foundation will be also partnered with us. And so speaking to the expungement piece, we'll have the DA's office speaking, we'll have Cheryl Powell speaking, we'll have Charles Johnson, as well as Dr. Carmen Williams with CUNY School of Public Health, speaking to the population health impact of expungement in the Clean Slate Act.
Very good.
Y'all are getting down.
Yeah, and so I think you guys, have you finalized your flyers yet? And if so, you'll make sure you get it to us so that youth in our office will make sure to disseminate it among our board members. And also, we have the chair of our health committee here, right behind us, Laquita. And so, Laquita, I don't know if you want to provide them with an opportunity to share at our next health meeting.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Hi, Deborah Levine. And hi, Tamika, for the first time meeting you. Tamisha, I'm sorry. Monday, December 4 at 6:30 is our December Health and Environment Committee meeting. Are you available? Because I can adjust our agenda and it would be great to have your presentation.
Yeah, we can be available December 4th at 6:30.
Is this Monday? Yes.
Okay.
And can you, let's see, I have Deborah's information, but if Deborah, if you don't mind, let's see, I don't have the chat in front of me, but if you can email me both your names and, you know, positions so I can put it on the agenda for Monday, that would be great.
As a matter of fact, could Deborah and Tamisha, would you mind putting your contact information in the chat?
I can
Because I
probably
want to
go
get
to the chat.
Well, I want to get it. Do it for me. May I also ask, so you said episode as in, will this be, are you gonna start doing like a YouTube something with these? Cause if not, please consider it, cause,
That's a good question. And I should have, that's what I was like explaining it better. So it's right now it's a 3-part series. So it started off as a 1-part thing, but as we started having the conversation, more people wanted to know about it. And so the first part will be just kind of like that initial introduction to the Clean Slate to expungement, because we all in this room kind of understand the implications behind it and the foundations of it, but the community really doesn't. And so having
and nobody knows how to really do it. At least I don't know how to do it.
right.
It's interesting because I have a friend who was, you know, was wanting to apply for something. And he was like, oh, I got a charge. And I was like, well, what is it? And he told me, and I was like, oh, you can get that expunged. And so I looked it up and I sent him the website, and basically there was, you know, it was kind of like call and find out, because I couldn't really tell him, you know, it's exactly what you're talking about. The community needs to know these. We know I know what expungement is, but we don't always know how to actually access the resources even after they're offered to us.
Right. Then that's honestly the bottom line. It doesn't matter how many resources are available. If you don't know how to access them, it means they're pointless, right?
Right.
And so right. And so that first conversation is about like, these resources are here. That second conversation is about, okay, now what do we do with these resources? And then that last conversation, that third part, we're looking to have a cannabis workforce initiative. So New York State Cannabis Workforce Initiative, or CWI, they essentially go more into depth about workers' rights, employee rights, employer rights, what that looks like in the cannabis industry. And also just like jobs, right? We keep talking about these jobs, but what are they? And not just working in a dispensary. What are those ancillary jobs that people like your friend who maybe doesn't want to like work directly with the plant or work in a dispensary? What exactly can they do? And so we're hoping to have people with this, we call it a series, with this series kind of leap with some type of tangible things and resources so that they can be able to not be in the situation that your friend is in, about like, okay, I have this number, now what exactly, like, what are the actual steps that I need to take to get this off of my record? What are the actual steps I need to take to then, once this is off my record, to then get the job that I'm looking for? Like, what is it in between? Like, you guys are saying these buzzwords, but what exactly are these buzzwords you guys are talking about?
And again, are you considering recording this? And if you have not considered recording it, would you consider recording it?
Oh yeah, we're gonna record it and we're gonna place it on our YouTube channel so that way everyone can access it. And then in the follow-up email, we'll also send in the follow-up links to also the recording, the Q&As. And so with the Eventbrite link, people will be able to submit questions. And so those questions that we may not be able to answer in those 90 minutes, because again, we only have 90 minutes. In those 90 minutes, we'll make sure that our speakers and our panel follow up with those questions as well.
And what is the YouTube channel?
It is the CUNY School of Public Health, Harlem Health Initiative. I'm gonna put the link in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, I could never put it.
Thank you so much.
And just
You know-
to follow up on that,
Oh.
we're also in the process of developing a curriculum that will sort of focus from a public health perspective, assisting social workers, community caseworkers, community-based organizations around how to integrate this into their programming and how to think about this in terms of professional development for their staff, because this is a new piece of legislation and our public health professionals, our community-based organizations, our medical staff are not necessarily in the same place, and no one is really talking to them about how to do this incorporation. So those are some of the things that for 2024, you'll be hearing from us as we're rolling this out. We're trying to also get continuing ed credits for this. So that folks will, again, not just get this for their own personal, but also be able to look at this as a form of professional development.
Got it.
Amazing.
Oh, I was gonna say, Laquita, as we plan, we're planning to do something in February in terms of health awareness. So maybe there's a way we can incorporate, and we always talk about trying to always find different ways to address the percent on cannabis, keeping it in the very positive light, because there's so much negativity around it because of those illegal shops, and yet we know the benefits of it. And so because we're planning in the health committee to do a program at the forum, I believe, right?
Yes, it's a public health forum on February 10, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And as Monique, thank you, Monique, for bringing that up in this committee. We are looking forward to having as many tables and presentations at those tables as possible. So it could be a booth set up. It doesn't have to be a flat table. It could, you can have a setup demonstrating certain things, however way you can. Just let us know how you would like to have your space set up. There's no charge for that space, but we do want to have a well-rounded health forum. The centerpiece will be research, clinical research and trials. Right now from Columbia University Irving Medical Center, but Monique had suggested a couple, and someone else from Mount Sinai as well.
Right.
So I know that at the Irving Medical Center, they did something regarding smoking, and they may have whatever new research they have coming up, whether it's related to that, alcohol, cancer. We've been presenting or showcasing some of those in our committee. So just keep that in mind as well. But it would
We
be
could
great to have you.
definitely, Madam Chair, be able to assist you around Harlem Strong, the mental health initiative that's occurring in the community. I'm sure we could get a presentation for that. I know that we have a large body of research around the opioid epidemic and its impact. So I'm happy to talk to the faculty that are attached to that conversation, that it's specific to Harlem and citywide. And there may be a few others who are doing some work, and I could ask around and see, what else we can help you with in terms of presentations or tablings.
Okay, all right, Deborah, you've always been very responsive, so thank you. And let me know as soon as possible so that we don't overdo it and leave, have.
Oh, no,
enough
I did, here's what I
time
can
for-
definitely confirm. Harlem Strong will definitely be there to talk about the task sharing and the mental health initiative. You will
And
definitely,
if there's any primarily the latest research and data, and if that program requires more individuals for the study, we're trying to encourage more people of color to participate in very well thought out, good research studies. That's important, even though we have to be very careful, but that's also very important.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. They're building out a coalition across 9, 10, and 11. So there's always work to be done, and that project's funded for the next 5 years, and it has a research arm to it, looking at the impact of how we cross-train community health workers and the impact around anxiety and depression. So I'm sure that Dr. No and her team would be happy to come and present.
Yes, is that, you guys came about a year ago as well with Malcolm Hunter at HCCI and
Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
yes, so
Glad it.
it's, or that would be a great time to provide, some results of the study. Okay, terrific. I don't want to take up more of your.
Yeah, we'll follow up and look forward to
Definitely.
working with you around this for sure.
Yeah, so you'll definitely see more of us, especially around the cannabis equity work, because one of the things that we're working on currently is so for those that don't know, this project for the school is unfunded. The dean has set aside and given us the mandate to do this work based on the requests that you all have given us to do. So we're in the process right now of trying to write a grant so that I can supplement the students' participation. So as we do that, we'd love to be able to come to you all for a letter of support, so that we can continue working on the survey development, being able to give you the information about the community, for the community, by the community, continue to help working on the mapping project that we're working on. So if that is something that you all want to continue working with us on, we would love to have you come in and help us with that letter of support.
I move that we write a letter of support for this initiative.
I would second that.
Tanisha will send over a draft. She'll draft something for you so that it's easy and you can just lift it and make whatever additions, but we appreciate it. I mean,
Yeah,
just so
happy
you
to
all
work
know,
on
you,
letters.
Monique, you've heard me say this before. My goal is really to train the next set of public health leaders that come from our community to be cannabis ready.
Absolutely, that's what we want.
Right, and there's no reason, I mean, we're the largest purveyor of graduate education to Black and brown students in New York. So this billion-dollar industry should have representation from our most impacted communities. And so it's really the school's mission and vision to walk lock and step with community and to be able to train the next set of public health leaders. And as you see, we have an example here of a recent graduate who is stepping into the role of coordinator, and that's why I decrease to allow her to increase in this process. So
That's right.
if you don't see me and you see her, it is just as good as seeing me, because I have faith in the people that we set forward.
Very good. I appreciate your leadership in growing the next set of leaders. And we look forward to working with Tamisha and doing whatever we can to support the program.
Yeah, I wonder if as well, and if we're supporting, I wonder if a reso is in order as well. because this work needs to be done. They've taken upon themselves to do it,
Yeah,
but perhaps a resolution as well. And this is just bringing it up as a thought. Perhaps a resolution as well might spearhead more support in terms of funding for initiatives such as this. And hopefully would impact you directly. The letter of support for whatever you're doing it for specifically, and the reso for general attention to the fact that this needs to be done and you're the only ones doing it.
well, yeah, I mean, in terms of
So-
our community, yeah.
Yeah,
So, definitely get the letter over to us, and the letter of support, the reso, is something that we can work on. I would say not to do both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the bandwidth is a little small, but we wanna support you, so get the letter over, that's an easy lift. And we'll work on the other stuff as well.
I'll get that to you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thank
thank
you.
you.
And thank you
Um,
for your support. We appreciate it. We know it's not easy allowing folks to come in and work with you, but we always want you to know that we're here as a continued partner in this process. And that's really the goal.
Actually, it makes our job easier when we are working with community partners, that's what we want.
We appreciate it. It's-
Yes, so, yeah,
Yeah, that's what you are our dream.
We'll take
Really,
it.
we wish there
Yeah.
were more like you.
that's right, and.
Keep on making them, keep on
That's
cranking
right,
them out.
that's So with that said, now our next presenter, because he couldn't get in, left. So I guess once again, we will, look to try to get them to come and present at the next meeting, because I feel that the work that they do is very important work, and it speaks to some of the stuff that we were talking about earlier in terms of increasing awareness about the opportunities in this industry. It's not just dispensaries that people have to open up. There's a whole wealth of other things, ancillary things that people can do. And they, Canaware was supposed to speak to that. And so once again, we will reschedule them to come, because I feel they have some good stuff to say. And I apologize for the technical difficulties, because he said he couldn't get in. And we have to figure out what's going on with the link, so that we don't have this issue moving forward. So I don't want good people to drop off because they can't get in, you know? Everybody's taking the time to, taking time out of their evening to join us, and we want to make it as easy as possible. So that presentation won't happen this evening. But what I will say is, we've been talking about supporting the establishment of legal dispensaries in our community. We are, in support of that, and do we want to do everything possible to support people who are trying to do the right thing? And we know it's important to meet and understand who the applicants are that want to set up shop in our community. And so what we'll be doing in the next few days is reaching out. We've had about 10 applications that have come to us, and my understanding is we've gotten a few more. So we're going to be looking to reach out to those individuals and setting up a time, probably virtually, and we'll share it with the community so that whoever is available can join us. And we're gonna ask those who are applying to set up shop to share with us, what they are hoping to achieve in terms of what they're gonna be setting up and how they're gonna operate, so that we just can get a better sense of what's coming into our backyard. So I just wanted to make sure I shared that, because once again, the community board is very supportive and wants to meet our neighbors. So that will be happening. And we'll probably send out a note to let people know when that's happening. And if you're available, I would say for you to join us. So that's pretty much it. So I guess we're gonna end early, which is
Can
not
we-
a bad thing.
Can we talk about the questionnaire? Cause you
What-
sent out the email,
Which questionnaire?
the questionnaire for the applicants.
I didn't get to send it out yet. I'm going
I
to.
got it, you sent it.
Yeah, I sent that out to just our community board. I didn't send it out to anybody else.
For the meeting, I mean, but
Oh,
it's only our community board meeting.
yeah,
Can we discuss it?
I mean, we can discuss it for sure in terms of, I guess the,
You were asking for feedback. I have some feedback.
yeah. Well, I can share it there on the Zoom with people as well, if they wanted to provide feedback. I think that's only fair. So that, we created a questionnaire that we're going to be sending to those who are applying to open up shops in our community. And we want to make sure that we have a, what is it, an honest player, I guess is the term, or a player who wants to be a part of the community and do the right thing. And so there is an application that was sent, and we certainly can share it, but then I'm not plugged in, so let me see if I can.
Is that a Apple product? Cause I can airdrop it to you.
Yeah, what I can do is definitely, so let me see if I can log in here first. Cause then if I can log in, then I can share the application from my computer. So let me see if I can get in. And this shouldn't take too long, everyone.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to vacate the premise because they're closing the location we're in. But if you want us to give you some feedback, Monique, send it
Yeah.
to us and we're happy to take a look at it and see if we catch anything missing.
Recording in progress.
Yes, hold on.
Turn on.
Oh my God. Understood.
Muted.
You can, be gone, and thank you for
And
joining us.
just also know that we have another staff member who joined us, Ariacella Holbrook Smith.
Oh.
You see her hanging out in the corner there.
Yes.
She just popped in, but again, it's all about training the next set of public health leaders. So you will see us. We're growing in numbers and we're around.
Thank you. I was wondering who that name was, and I was going to ask that person if they wanted to ask a question or, make any kind of statement. Do they want to say anything? Hello,
Not,
Ariel.
hi, hi
Hi.
everyone. Not too much to add, but hi, thank you for allowing me to join and sit in on this.
Oh, it was
She'll
our
drop her
pleasure.
contact information in the chat. Or do
Okay,
you need me to, Araceli? Are you good?
Oh yeah, I got it. Typing it
Okay.
in right now.
All right, y'all. It was a
right.
pleasure as always. Know that we're here. Let us know if there's anything we can do to help, and we will be in touch shortly with the support letter and the flyer for the next set of webinars.
excellent.
Thank you.
And we look forward to joining us
Next
at
month.
the next month.
And we'll send you guys with the flyer, the caption for the social media, for the newsletter. So that way all you guys have to do is just copy and paste everything over.
Great.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I need permission to share. I can't share.
Give yourself permission.
I need permission.
I can't see the screen. Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Where is it? Here it is. Oh, this is it. Is that it? No, I don't want to try now.
Is this the iPad?
It is.
If you turn on the,
Yeah, I'm trying to, okay, I don't know why that's on there.
yeah, if you turn on your, this, I have it on my screen. I can just airdrop it to you and you don't have to look for it.
I have it pulled up already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The question is why it's doing other stuff, because it just updated, that's why. My iPad just updated, so give me 1 second.
Have you had a net or?
Oh my goodness. Oh, gosh.
Right here.
Okay, here we go, let's try again, because I just, why is this over?
And you said that, I thought.
Okay. So this is, oh, how do I,
I could be paranoid.
okay, here we go. So, okay, close. Okay, I'm gonna close this. So here we are. And let me see if I can change the format of this, because it looks like it's in the way. Can you minimize that? So everyone who's on, and I'm assuming most people are community board members at this point, and then we still have Ariosella on. This application, is something that I made from an application that was shared with us. And some of it is based on the fact or the conversation we had at our our executive meeting. One of the things that came up from people at that meeting, and I want to say also the general meeting, was understanding that with these new establishments, how are they operating? And of course, there's no way of knowing how they are operating, because that information isn't available on the forms that we've received. So we, want to call these applicants before us to speak, and for us to get to know them and be able to ask them questions. And the goal was to send this application out to people, so they could start giving us information. And I did create this form and wanted feedback from our community board, so that we could make sure that we were attacking, and I use that word, attacking, meaning that we were addressing issues that people.
Not that far, just.
People had, so that we could
Right there.
make sure that when we send it to people, that we are getting the information that we are seeking to know who our neighbors will be. And so this is what, like I said, I pulled together, and it was a little longer actually, and I took some stuff out. But like I said, I wanted feedback from our community board to see if they felt the right questions were being asked, so that when we send it out, we can get what we need from those applicants.
Okay, why do we need so many partnership information?
I mean, I guess with this being new, who knows? I mean, I figure maybe somebody's new to the business. Who knows? Maybe they have a lot of partners in order to make sure they're able to set themselves up. So that's the only reason why I put it on there. I don't know if there's a limit. So I'm just trying to scroll
It's
it up.
very official.
Yeah,
That's
scroll it up a little bit more.
Okay. I know it does look official.
Name, owner,
I
Right.
have to say that,
premises, legal name,
I can't take credit for it. This was
Street.
done out of Community Board 7.
street address with
And
street
they took,
owner.
and they took the time to,
Okay, so owner contact, is that the applicant owner, or is that the owner of the premises? What, or what are we asking?
so owner contact, that is a good question. I feel that they meant perhaps the person who is applying for the site.
Okay,
That's what I think
I think
that-
that we should say so premises legal, I think probably the person should be first. Don't you think the applicant should be first
I mean,
before the name of the business?
well, I think that's what I mean here. So if that's not clear, we can change it so that it reads
applicant
applicant.
of the business is, because then the business is in there and the applicant.
But the
changes
business
their-
doesn't exist yet. The business doesn't exist yet. It doesn't matter.
I mean, whoever else is on it was Carlton. Do you have any comments? He's our silent partner.
Yeah. I mean, but if people don't wanna talk,
Yeah,
he's there though, I think.
right. I mean,
Can't
once
see.
again, I
Um,
welcome the feedbacks. It
yeah,
shouldn't be
I
just
just-
me.
I know that this, if we don't know what this is, a person filling it out.
That's
does not
fine.
Know what it is.
So how should we
So
make it
perhaps we
clearer?
should just say applicant name.
So applicant,
Yeah, applicant.
that's fine.
Um,
Laquita,
Applicant,
What do
or,
you
oh,
think?
you know what, or maybe applicant slash owner. Cause that's clear, right?
mhm.
Applicant slash owner, legal firm. So does that mean,
I guess the legal, I'm thinking,
legal representative?
right, the legal representative.
Okay, so I think we need to, it's just not clear.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
So what do you think? we should-
legal rep,
Legal representative?
you can just put rep, period, cause there's not a lot of room.
Okay, legal rep as opposed to legal firm.
Yeah,
Okay, legal
But you
rep,
know something,
/
applications, if you
contact.
Spell things out is better, you never know, rep could be something, just
They
spell
know
it
what-
out, if it doesn't fit, then.
it does
deal
not
with
really
it,
fit.
but-
If it doesn't fit, you must have quit.
Yeah.
It won't,
Agent,
it will
but
not fit.
or agent.
And
or
here's
agent.
my other question.
Yeah,
Why do we need to know the name of their legal representative, the name of their lawyer?
because I think from what I'm understanding, some people are doing it on their own. And others are probably operating through a legal entity.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we need to know it because maybe the legal person is doing all of it and we're not dealing with the applicant necessarily at all.
I'm thinking that might be the case,
Okay.
even though I think we want to deal with the person who is putting forth the application and being in our community, that would be ideal.
Yeah,
So, I mean, we can maybe take the legal firm off.
it just depends on how we want it, because I don't, honestly, I think that we should be dealing with the actual applicant. I don't think that, we're not a court. So, you know what I'm saying? The courts have, if we go to court and, I can send my attorney there and I don't have to show up necessarily.
That is true.
But in this case, I don't think we should allow that. I think that the people who are actually applying should, and it's not, they might be in California. First of all, you're not supposed to necessarily be in California, but if you are, you can even join us via Zoom.
True, you can.
I don't think that we should deal with the legal representatives.
And
Honestly.
then that's fine too. Like I said.
I mean, we can still ask for it, but I just, in terms of our process. Whether it stays on the form or not, I don't know, I guess that's debatable. But I think as a committee, when we start dealing with these people, I think that it is important for the actual people.
To be before us or
Yeah,
speak to
and
us.
you cannot send a representative in here.
I mean, I agree. We want to get to know that entity, so, I mean, I could take it off if we feel that.
I don't know if it needs to be off, but I think while we're discussing this, we also, we're putting processes together. So,
So, I mean,
perhaps that should just,
maybe we can add language saying that we want the person who's doing the,
yeah, and we can perfect it later on, so we
Right.
don't have to take up a whole
Or
bunch of time in the
or
meeting.
just add somewhere else on the form.
right,
I just put a line. Something law firm, period, then give them that space, they either have one or they don't. Just
Yeah,
put it-
I just
It doesn't mean
fear
that
that,
they're represented, it just means that they have a law firm, and they
Yeah.
understand the legal implications.
I just fear that if we
Not
kind
for
of put it up
representing
there,
them.
that they'll
I mean,
feel
of
like
course they
it's
represent
okay.
them, but not for speaking on their behalf.
So we can maybe add that language somewhere that we want them to come before us.
Yeah.
Even if we keep that
And it could just be our, you know,
email
our
messaging.
guidelines, you
Yeah.
know, it just could be our guideline. Historical.
So the
relationships.
guidelines that we still have to approve, we can add that, and I think that language is in there,
Okay,
and I can pull that up as well, but go ahead.
and historical relationship to social and economic equity percentage, what does that mean?
It probably means how much of what they're doing is based in social equity. I don't know how we determine that, and I guess I can try to find that out.
Yeah, that doesn't mean, unless it means percentage of partnership, maybe. And if that's the case, I don't think it should be 6, maybe 3, or if there needs to be more, then they could write it in or something. I don't think it needs to be 1, 2, 3. I don't think it needs to be 5.
Okay, so I need to get clarity on that.
Title.
Maybe I'll ask Community Board 7 why they put that in there.
I don't think you need to. I think we need to decide this for ourselves.
I wanted to understand the thinking for why they did it. Just to make sure that we're getting as much information as possible, because it's kind of like a one-shot thing. I mean, you're right, we're not the court, and we aren't lawyers, we're just people in the community with a
Right.
concern.
Right.
And, I mean, I'm just as good not having it there, because for me, I think what's the most important part is what comes later.
Can
When
I
it-
see the room?
Yeah, so this part here, and we can modify this a little bit as well, but when we talk about, I'm sorry, my cursor is being a little messy. Occupancy, classification, and description of use. Yeah, I mean, I thought that that would be good to know. Zoning, business or residential, I added that in there.
Now, let me ask you, if it's not zoned for business, it wouldn't be able to be even there, would it?
Well, it shouldn't be, and we can speak to that, because some of the ones that we looked at, we said we didn't agree with the location, and therefore we were objecting. If it's in a residence, we didn't think that was appropriate based on.
Well,
the
it's not, OCM doesn't think it's appropriate,
Well,
so.
right, that's right, but remember, the caveat was, for example, some of the buildings that, in fact, we discussed in terms of addresses, the bottom floor is retail, and then you have a residence on top,
Mhm.
right? So that's a residential building.
But no, it would be mixed use.
Yeah, mixed use.
It would, there's
One
not
by
allowed,
Main
if
Street,
there's a
for example.
business in there,
Right,
it has to be zoned for business as well.
right, well, okay, so the one on 145th Street, if you recall, I believe Solomon is not on.
Yeah.
But he went to that location, and I think it was in one of those townhouses or like brownstone
Right,
type of
which
stuff.
means that,
That's a residential one, so
Right.
it shouldn't be there, and we agreed against it.
yeah,
And
and,
even based on the guidelines, I think we said no.
right.
So are you saying we shouldn't have the language residential because that's moot?
I think it's moot, but I'm just bringing up, I'm not
Yeah.
saying to do, you know, anything concrete, like how it ends up, we're gonna work on that, but
Yeah.
I'm just telling you things that are
No, that's fine, I
coming
appreciate
to my
it.
mind.
But like
and-
I said, I was doing it by myself, and so this is what I saw, but I want feedback. so
Right,
that
and
we all feel
Carlton and Chris,
comfortable.
you know, please don't let me, if you have anything to say, please jump in, I'm just.
Cause we can remove that.
Yeah, that,
Laquita, do you think we should remove that?
Let me get closer.
Cause it
yeah,
says,
because zoning, it's a given, it has to be zoned properly. For, you know, there are certain things, and I've seen a few of these, like some of the ones that they have sent us as examples. Where
number 6.
just ask, you know, the zoning. It has to be, it's not gonna get past OCM if it's residential.
No, but it did. One of them
What do
did.
you mean? It did not.
The
It
one
did-
that we
It
said,
did not, they did not send that. that was, all we get is a notice.
Right,
We're not getting the application. The applications is not our business. It is, all we get is a notice
correct.
to the municipality saying, hey, I want to open a cannabis shop in your neighborhood.
Right.
This
But it
is
doesn't hurt
for
to have it
your
there, it shows
approval.
whether they
But-
know what
but
information they know
Daria,
too.
um,
It just enforces.
Even though it's a notice, we got an address, and when we went to that address, we saw, for
Right,
example.
but it did not go past OCM. That's what I'm telling you. We can, I'm not saying take it off. We don't have to spend a lot of time on
Okay,
it.
yeah,
Um,
I think,
but what I am saying is
Yeah.
that if it is a residential, if it is zoned only for residential, it is illegal for them to have a business there.
correct,
So
We'll see if they know that.
right, yeah.
So,
It's better to have more questions than, well, not a whole lot more, but that's a good question.
yeah, describe the, and you know, that's, again, I'm just bringing it up because
That's
it's something
fine.
that's crossing my mind.
No,
I'm not,
absolutely.
I'm not insisting that it be off or
No,
anything.
that's all,
like
it's
that.
all good to me. I appreciate it. Number 7
Describe
kind of
the
asked you to go into more detail, I believe, yeah.
As well as both sides. Both sides.
So I guess if it's a location that's between a building or something, we like what's on both sides of it.
Then we need to say that more
You think
clearly.
that's not?
Yeah, as neighbor, as well as, I don't know, we just need to do that better and we can
You
do
think
it
so?
later, yeah,
Okay. Change the language so it's clearer.
yeah,
Who's your neighbor on both sides?
yeah.
And they confirm, they can
Describe
confirm it.
neighboring buildings or whatever.
I like
Uh,
that.
Yeah, it
Uh,
confirms what they know too and how well they know their community. that they're
Okay.
Coming into.
Check here if you have a, you know what, I would like to know,
Go ahead.
I would like to know if they are, if they're residents of our community. Or relationship to this community. I
So,
think
That's
that's.
something that the sheriff brought up too.
right, like he felt that people who were from the community would engage in less
Yeah,
illicit activity.
I think that we should say,
So maybe in the beginning at the top, we should ask question.
maybe right before the partners, maybe we can ask relationship to this community or relationship to West Harlem. Or Community Board 9,
I like that. Partnership
Um,
section, okay,
yeah,
and add a sentence.
okay, we
Add
went back up,
sentence.
I don't know where the things.
Hold on 1 second, okay, question, what is relationship, I like that,
Yeah,
to CB9,
yeah, just say relationship to CB9, that's,
yeah, and I'll make a, so I appreciate that.
yeah,
So now, hold on 1 second, my mouse is acting funky,
regular.
I'm gonna move it.
Adult, and these need to be because registered organization with dispensing, that's not the name of a license, it should, I think it's adult use something, but we can go through and,
Retail dispensary premise, registered organization with okay.
yeah, we need to just put the correct.
Adult use and micro business, maybe that third one is not,
No, I think it's, yeah, this one.
right, maybe we can remove it.
I think we just, whatever they meant it to be, we just need to get the right. Is that door open?
It feels chilly, doesn't it? It's cracked.
Oh,
Cracked.
does that mean it's not locked?
Yeah,
It
that's
wasn't
what
locked
it means.
until I got in.
Yeah, it wasn't locked in the first place.
I know, cause I got in
We
here
don't have the
too,
crazy people
the
too.
killer could.
You know what? Do you wanna? I guess we can keep doing this in the meeting. I was gonna say, if you wanna end the meeting, we can finish.
No, let's finish doing it because
Okay,
I keep trying to get this done.
can you scroll it up?
Yes, so I like that, so that's question
Yeah.
number
Yeah.
2.
Hard copy of it.
I don't have it with me, sorry
you
to
go-
say.
Do you have iPhone?
Question
I can-
Text it to
2.
her email.
I
Remove,
can airdrop it.
remove. Which one is that? Register organization, okay, register.
Turn on your,
organization.
have it all mine. I find this.
With dispensing. Okay, so I'm gonna remove that, okay. So this last part, guys. And I'll ask about. So the part about the partnership,
I think there should be less of those and
I
we,
will,
and
and
we
if
gotta
we wanna,
figure
and
out.
we have to get clarity on the historical relationship. What that language means.
Yeah, I think that is, I think that's a well-meant question, but I don't think it comes off as the most.
Comprehensible.
Yeah, it's just, it's a wonky question, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, what exactly do you want to know? Because if you're saying, have you been to jail, you know, like, but the thing is, in terms of us, does it make us a difference if one of the partners has been to jail for cannabis or not?
No,
To me, I don't think that's really one of our criteria, so
no,
I'm not sure why we would use so much real estate on our,
I mean,
on our questionnaire
we could
to
just,
have it.
like I said, I think it's
No.
meant to be well intentioned, but if it's not clear, we can remove the sentence as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure why we're asking that question.
Right.
I'm not sure why. Maybe, and maybe we'll leave and be like, oh, well, maybe that was a reason, or,
I mean, I can Google it and see if it means something, but,
Okay, describe the residence or business. Yeah, we gotta make that clear. Check if you have a site plan. If
Right.
so, please submit to the committee.
now
A
here,
site plan
so,
in terms of like,
so how they're gonna operate their business? I think, I remember one of the members had asked, well, we don't know anything about the business, and I know for myself, I was thinking, how long are they gonna be, like, what are the hours of operation? How are they going to manage and control what is happening in there so that, we don't have a lot of like people maybe loitering outside or a lot of loud noise, just like we would do with some of these bars and stuff.
but we don't require people that are coming for a liquor license to do all of this.
Well, that's not the impression I got. I thought when we approved licenses, one of the things we looked at is if there are any complaints against establishments. How long
Right.
they're, like, how they're
Yeah,
operating and
Absolutely.
how loud
But
they
if
are.
somebody is getting a new liquor license,
Yeah,
all we get is a name
mm-hmm,
and a vote. None of this is included. And I'm not suggesting that we don't ask any questions,
yeah,
but I'm pointing out the inequity
okay,
in what is happening.
right,
And so I think that we need to be very conscious of asking questions that are pertinent, but not getting beside ourselves because it's cannabis.
now I will say this. We're looking at also what's happening, and you're right, maybe that is clouding the way that we look at it, but like how some of the places that are established now that are illegal.
They're all illegal, so they don't have anything to do with this.
No, I understand, but it's an opportunity, as you said, to be proactive. So
Mhm.
I'm not, once again, we wanna have a good relationship with our partner, our potential.
Our new businesses.
Community member, a new business.
Mhm.
And we wanna make sure whoever comes in, hopefully they're from the community, we just wanna make sure that they're just respectful. Because we deserve that as a community member. We're up to question, methods of operation. Asking like hours of operation.
Site plan, do we need the site plan?
maybe that's not, okay, check if you have a site.
Do we?
No,
Do we, and again, I'm just discussion. And because,
That, you know, that could be good, that's almost like a business plan, landlords.
but
often ask
why
for
do
a
we,
business
why
plan.
are we asking people
See how
for a
much they
business
thought
plan?
about it. See how much they thought about it. and
But
we're
why do
getting
they
there.
have to have thought about it when nobody who's getting a liquor license have to have thought about it? We don't ask them for anything. And again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have
But
this
you're
at
arguing the
all.
point for a reason.
I'm arguing the point, and I'm not really arguing the point. What I am doing is pointing out that when if this is akin to liquor license, which it actually is, it's you know, sometimes
saying.
we're doing too much, and it, you know, for lack of a better term. And I think we have to walk a line here, and without
that's fine. I mean, once
um,
again,
asking them for their site plan for what?
that's
Just
fine.
like, do they have velvet ropes? Why do we
We
care
actually
if they're gonna
might
have velvet ropes?
The other
So-
side of it is we might actually help them by asking if they have a site plan. Year 1, year 2, what do they anticipate doing?
That's not a site plan, that's a business plan. A site plan is more like a schematic of the inside of their business. And why do we care how they set up their business on the inside? You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and
Why
that-
do we care about that?
That, I mean, and that's fine as well. I could go either way. I don't care. I think I'm more concerned about how. I'm more concerned about any establishment, how they operate, how they control what goes on
Exactly.
outside.
So all of the questions that have to do with all of that kind
Yeah.
of stuff, I think that we should include that and we should talk about that. But I'm very cognizant of
Right,
some of the questions that just seem to be asked almost like a power play, and that not from us, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because we got this from somewhere else, but
that's right.
I've seen them from several community boards, and people are asking for what are you paying for rent? We wanna see, you know, personal information, personal business information
Mhm.
from people, which is none of the community board's business. And I know we're not asking that,
Right.
but I'm just saying, you know, I'm
And I hear you.
just, yeah.
Like I said, I wanna find balance. For me, personally, I just wanna know how you're operating and to make sure
Exactly.
you're
Are you gonna
controlling.
keep people
Right,
up
are
at
you
night?
controlling your establishment so you're not disrupting other people in the community?
Right.
That's for me, is the bottom line.
I do
So-
think we
So that
should
might be
ask,
another way of asking it, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Right, so the
Another way
velvet
of
rope,
asking is the site
I mean,
plan,
I
how's
don't-
it like, what's the layout to that?
the
keeps it
inside of
private?
somebody's business is not our business.
okay,
I don't think so. I do think that security, if that's not a question,
it is, I think like, well, it should
is-
be, wait, hold on. Okay, do you plan to have any events, entertainment party, music amplified sound of any kind? So that's 9, hours of operation, sound control, soundproofing, which I think is important. How will you manage sidewalk and, it says vehicular traffic? Maybe we don't care, well, I was gonna say, vehicular traffic, you don't wanna hold a lot of cars hanging out in front of an establishment either. And people hanging out in their cars in front of an establishment.
yeah, but that doesn't, this is New York City.
No, I know, but still, once again, you want somebody,
Nobody asks a
you want-
bar
you
any of that.
sure they do,
No, they don't.
bars.
We don't ask them. We don't, that does not even come up.
I wish Carolyn was on here and Solomon, I mean, I don't know.
Where'd they go? Where's Solomon?
They're
go?
gone.
They tired of us.
I know.
But just because they don't ask, maybe it elevates, you know, what the expectation is if we do ask.
Why do we have to elevate the expectation for
That-
these businesses?
But all the, maybe you, now your hand, but if you've heard questions around and some with the community, inside the community board, maybe they can kind of answer some questions there, because some things I may not think of, somebody else might, then it'll be, well, why didn't he ask that? Why didn't we do da, 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 da?
That, which is
Yeah.
why
So-
people come to the meeting, like you're here, and we're having the discussion.
Yeah.
So
I think we can, it might be.
what are things that you would want to know?
To tell you the truth, I'm not as anxious about, the cannabis. I have concerns, so some things I may not even think of. It's like the residential parking. But other people can go all into it. So I think the ones who can go all into it probably have, made for some of the questions that would come up. And I kind of think that may be the case on our board too. It's, it could be that you keep questions and then you don't have a high point number for them, whether they answer it or not.
Well,
That's
I don't
another way of
agree.
seeing.
no, I mean, if it's on there,
I do
then
not
the
agree.
expectation, I think, is for them to answer it.
Yeah.
Either we have it on there or not,
Right.
so, for me,
It's for a reason, but at the same time, if it say they don't have a site plan.
Well,
they haven't laid it all
see,
out.
well, we could take that out.
And what we have to remember as well is all of this, we're making the rules.
Right.
Most of the things in life, literally, especially with city government, the rules are already in place. They were set in place, 10, 20, it might be decades ago that they were set in place. So we're making these rules and how it's, that's why, for me, that's why the debate, that's the importance of this conversation.
Right.
And it not just being, and we
I
literally
just kinda
got
like
this.
the idea of having at least high expectations.
Well, we got this from another community
know,
board,
but-
who's just a committee just like us, or a person who sat down and just wrote out some stuff that they
I
thought.
think it was thought put into it, because
Well,
this is very nice.
Exactly, they
Yeah.
put down some thoughts,
Yeah.
and just like we're putting down some thoughts, but they don't,
Well, I
So
was,
whatever you come up, you guys are the big
Right.
thinkers, and you all have been working on it longer.
but we appreciate you sitting here as somebody coming from a different perspective. And once again, coming with that background in the health lens and knowing what the
Well,
implications
my
are.
former business, because business and commercial revitalization, so I think I think part of what's happened, is that a lot of landlords haven't been as attentive to the commercial needs, and a lot of these businesses just go downhill from all kind of perspectives because certain questions and information wasn't had. So that's why I don't mind some of the questions. So
Yeah, but
it's just,
the
and we
thing-
want them to be, we want these cannabis owners to be very business minded. I'm not saying they have to be, have an MBA, I'm not saying that, ooh, shucks, but to be, to be thoughtful and thinking on how they're managing.
which is why I'm asking you, what things would you want to, would concern you or?
Now,
hear
I
about?
can think about that tomorrow,
So
I
I,
might have something.
right,
you know
so
what I mean?
maybe, I appreciate starting the conversation and getting
Yeah, we can do it
feedback. And no,
offline. or-
and getting feedback from other members, because, once again, I did cut it down, there was more stuff and I cut it down.
Yeah,
But I thought that this part was the meat of what we should know, who's coming into our hood. And for me, I don't think these were necessarily, and I agree, we can remove site plan, because I'm not looking at floor plans, I'm not an
Right.
architect.
now,
But
how
I-
will you manage sidewalk and vehicular traffic? I think that really is about security.
Mhm.
So I don't know if there should be an additional question, or if we should just work security into that question, because I do think in security
Mhm.
is an important question, like how are they gonna handle
Yeah.
security?
Yeah.
Will
Will
they have an outside, will they just use cameras? Will they be
That leads to question 11, which, that whole section there.
now velvet ropes? What does that have to do with
Oh, okay,
anything?
so maybe
If they have a line.
like some way to control lines, it doesn't have to be velvet
That-
ropes, I mean, that's very
I think
foo-foo,
that
but
is
the
like,
point is to be able to have crowd control. I think
okay,
that's
then
what that
that's
gets
the
out.
question.
Yeah,
That is not, we'll.
How will you control the crowd? or
Yeah,
have
but
managed
we
the
already
crowd?
said sidewalk and vehicular traffic.
Well, they can
That's
keep
all-
choices.
that's
They
what it
said
is.
Velvet ropes, facade, window that.
Velvet
they-
ropes, I just, please
No,
take
no,
that
no,
off.
they'll give you suggestions.
Please take that off.
Okay,
I just-
You got it almost
I
sounds
don't
like
know,
just let these people come up in here and run their business.
I mean, for real, let them run their businesses, us asking if they
Well,
gonna
you
have
gotta
velvet
review
ropes.
this.
listen, I get
Us
it.
having, them having velvet ropes does not affect our quality of life. Then they have their own choices. This not for us to give them on that.
Listen, okay, I will remove that, that's fine.
Facade,
Facade,
open or closed.
So
What-
yeah, I think, so
What
once
does that
again,
mean?
it probably means facade, like the building, the side of the building, are they going to, like that town?
Girl,
No,
you
no, no, no,
making
no.
it up, whatever it is.
No,
Go
it's
ahead. Go
I
ahead.
think about the Italian, no, think about the Italian restaurant, 145th Street, a
Okay.
little tiny restaurant that
Okay.
squeezed itself in.
Oh,
It's open, yeah, it's open, right? That facade is open.
Okay,
And
so.
that's important, because if they have the ability to open windows, that means they're opening up and can.
But nobody's
not control-
smoking in there. You don't smoke in a dispensary. You don't smoke in a dispensary. The dispensaries are for buying. And you're also allowed, the licenses do allow that you can have a small area for consumption.
Okay,
However, in just a regular dispensary, there is no consumption in a
Okay.
dispensary.
okay,
There is not, so we have to know what we're talking about too.
that's
And-
fine.
And there is no, but I would like to know, like you were saying, in terms of it being open, to
Right,
your point,
yeah,
so it's not about the smell. It is more about like, do you want I guess we want to know here's a question for us in terms of, I guess, our criteria.
right.
Do we want to, insist that the windows be obscured? Or can the windows be open? If there's no consumption though, all they're doing is making purchases. But do we want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do we feel about
I mean,
that?
most places I thought had the windows obscured. I thought it was done deliberately to provide protection or privacy to those who are going in.
I have not heard,
I've never seen one where the windows weren't obscured.
well, all the illegal ones, the windows are wide open. And
So all the legal
but-
ones I've gone to, the windows are obscured, so.
I don't, and maybe we need to decide in terms of like our stance. Do we want to insist upon that? Because I haven't seen any regs, and there may be, but I'm not aware of any regs that say that they must be obscured.
I mean, quite frankly, well, that's a good question, but in terms of how, so we will remove the velvet ropes, I'm good with that.
Please.
And we plan to have the facade, I mean, I think that's a fair question, open or closed, windows.
But we definitely need to clarify.
And then it goes, windows that are open, yes or no, so that's
I think
interesting.
windows, I think we gotta say that a different way too.
Okay, so,
And lighting, who cares?
well, maybe, okay, so I'm sitting here talking with you, lighting, maybe we wanna make sure that it's well lit, so that people are walking by and.
Who cares?
What do you mean, who cares? I would say people in the community
Why
would care.
then are we going to require that of every bar? Everywhere
we
that serves
should.
alcohol, but we don't,
Well, maybe we should.
but we don't, doing too much.
Hey,
Why
By
do
the way-
they gotta describe their light seriously, y'all?
yeah, well,
Seriously.
listen, I'm good with removing it if we think
I'm
that's
just,
too much.
listen, it's just a discussion.
Carlton, you're on here, cause I know Carlton always has plenty to say. Carlton, do you have a comment
Okay.
And we can, I mean, we can remove it, I'm good either way.
That's on the.
Carlton, if people
No.
are, people are not
No, he
participating, why
was
are we gonna
there.
make this longer by doing that?
Anyway, you want me
What's
to,
number 13?
you want me to remove it?
Describe your security strategy for both incidents.
So it
Oh,
is
yeah.
there.
It is there.
Okay.
What's number 14? But I think that.
Number 14.
I think is there a 14? I think 13 should be closer to 10 because
Okay.
they're related.
That's fine, hold on.
I'm gonna go home and have more to say, but I don't
Okay,
want
no,
this,
no,
I don't
I
want this
appreciate,
meeting to go on
no,
forever,
I
but
appreciate having the initial discussion because when
yeah.
it's time to make the edits, I wanna make sure it's clear.
Incident plan, call the police. 13A, but
So
no
13 So
14,
you want move
15.
13 closer, move number 13
closer to 10.
next to 10.
Yeah,
okay.
incident plan.
I mean, we don't need
What
to
do you
have that, I
Call
guess,
the police. I mean, I think it's good, but it needs to mean something more than just that.
describe your security and an incident, so if something happens, I guess the thought is like, how are you gonna control it so that we don't have guns
But a lot
ablazing?
of the,
It's
safe
15.
shelter programs and all of that, not that this is, but it still deals with a drug. They do ask for.
It's not a
security
drug,
plan.
it's a medicine.
A medicine, well, medicines are drugs. Yeah, I'm not trying to be funny with that, they do ask for security plans.
But this-
I wanna know about security, I definitely do.
So if they have a security plan in place, that says a lot.
Yeah, you have no debate for me about that.
Okay, so can we keep the incident plan too?
Yep.
I think we should say something different,
Okay, what do you
kind of,
think-
sort of that, but
Okay, well, what do you wanna call it?
I'll call you, Tim.
Okay.
What's after
I
15?
can, so the last one, other information and stipulations, I guess,
Is that
other
it?
things that we needed to know, but yeah, that's it.
There's nothing else?
And then yeah,
Applicant name and then an applicant signature way down at the bottom.
well, it's the end.
The end.
Do you want me to write that, the end? Go part tell us to take this form and, anyway. Oh,
So-
are we still recording? Okay, I wanna make,
Okay,
I didn't
so
use any
that's it.
profanity, so, anyway, I think we can stop
Take
recording.
this form in.
So, and with that said, we're going to conclude the meeting and.
I move to adjourn.
Okay, I second that. So we're gonna close the meeting out. Hello?
Chris is saying something.
Hello?
Chris.
Yeah, hi, I just said, I second the adjournment.
Oh. He said enough of this.
He said
Yeah, okay, very good. So we're adjourning the meeting at 8:35. I want to thank you all for the robust discussion. And even though our person didn't come tonight, it gave us an opportunity to attack this form. And I'm telling you, next month, we're gonna finalize those guidelines.
Yes, and there might
Got
be
to.
some other things, let me go home and think about, there might be some other things that we do need to ask.
Well, okay,
But
think about it. I mean, once again,
I don't wanna just be asking questions just cause we can.
no,
you
I
know what
agree.
mean?
I want them to be
They need to
meaningful.
mean something.
No, I'm good with that. I'm not on a power trip. I don't have to ask stuff to just be.
Are you gonna have velvet roads?
All right
That
now.
on the floor?
She gonna hold that over me, even though that was in my phone. I didn't write it, but to me, I understood the intent and I thought it was good
Yeah.
because we wanna be mindful.
Usually those are the ones you see.
Right, I guess if
I
you,
think they have those corded roads.
Yeah.
Different just roads, divider roads or something like.
all right, well,
Crowd control
the meeting
roads.
is over, guys, so you both have a good night and thank you for joining us. And see you at the now, I guess I won't see you at the executive meeting. I'll see you at the general meeting. All right, guys? Let me stop the recording. How do you stop?
Good night. End, see the end right, wait, save did you save?
Oh, I gotta save it. I'm trying to use the mouse.
Save the chat.
Oh, there's Carlton.
I'm sorry, the mouse is not working.
It is working.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at my tablet.
Girl, are you serious?
I'm the,
It's the chat.
wait, make sure you save it and save it to the cloud.
I can't.
We can move-
Oh, it's already being saved.
No, we didn't stop it. So we have to stop it and then save it.
It's already being saved.